Welcome everyone. We're live from Halftime Sports Bar here in Washington, D.C. This is a special broadcast for you here on Sports Journey. I'm joined by two Washington Redskins. To my right, we have Washington Redskins running back Chris Thompson. And to my left, we have Washington Redskins fullback and hopefully this year Pro Bowler, Darrel Young. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Before we even get into the draft, obviously that's one of the reasons why we're here, is I want to give a little shout out to Halftime and the Wings. We've been a lot of places and eaten some bad wings. Give me your assessment.
I like the wings. They were good. I had about 8 before I jumped on the show.
I really liked them. They were really good.
All right, so we'll make sure that was so bad, but you know, the food was great. So look, draft started yesterday. Yesterday we did a broadcast out in Maryland, and your team took Brandon Sheriff. A lot of fans were upset. You know, you can't make all the fans happy. I personally thought Leonard Williams was a guy you guys were going to go with, but one of the things that I've knocked your team for over the years covering you guys is I felt like you needed more offensive line help. So you did. You went out and drafted a really good offensive line prospect, actually the #1 offensive line prospect. How is that going to help this football team, and Robert Griffin specifically?
Who was mad about that pick?
There were some fans
They criticized the whole O-line the whole season.
I know.
Everybody said we needed a right tackle, and they drafted the guy that's playing tackle. What's the problem?
Listen, like I said, you can't make fans happy.
Hey,
you needed offensive line help.
You know what? You need every position at 4 and 12. It's not about one guy or one position. At the end of the day, I mean, look at the situations that we were in. I mean, we didn't run the ball as effective as we could, you know, last season or the year before. But at the same time, I mean, it's collectively. You got to have receivers. Alfred didn't lead the league in 20-plus yard runs, you know, because of one guy missing. It was a collective guy, you know, collective guys on certain plays, just building and playing together. And I think we really haven't played for each other in the past couple of years, and I think we need to get back to that.
You know, it's scary because I probably didn't even need to talk to you. He said the same thing. He said you guys need to play for the man beside you. And on top of that, he said it wasn't just when you're 4 and 12, it's not one person or two people, that it's a collective situation where you guys didn't play well. I think if you look at your football team, and Chris will bring this up to you, the skill sets. I mean, this is a guy in Darrel that's proven himself year in and year out. Yourself, you're a guy that, you know, a lot of Redskins fans still, you know, they're trying to figure out what is Chris Thompson, who is Chris Thompson. But you look at yourself in that third down back situation, you have a golden opportunity with Roy Halou not here now. And perhaps Roy Halou's not here because of a guy named Chris Thompson. Do you feel like showing up your offensive line will help, you know, basically show the skill sets that you guys in the backfield can hit the holes and do different things?
I mean, yeah, you look on paper, any coach would love to have the guys that we have, you know, the skill set. We got a fullback that can play running back, you know, he can catch out the backfield. You know, we got a speed back, we got the pounder, we got, you know, even at receiver, we got the Anglication, then we got Deshaun. So, and Andre also with speed. So, you know, we just got to find a way to put it all together. And once we do, you know, this is the second year in this system. So guys starting to understand it, starting to get it, learn everything a lot better and quicker. So, you know, we'll see what goes on.
How much do fans underestimate the fact that you had a new coach last year, new terminology, new system? And I understand some of it may be similar to what you guys had with Shanahan. But at the end of the day, it was a new coach, a whole new outfit, a new way of going about practices, you know, looking at tape. Do you feel more comfortable? Obviously, you're not at that point now. It's more like OTAs now. But do you just feel a different vibe out there at Redskins Park?
I can say that under, you know, Coach Jay Gruden, but we have a different offensive line coach, a whole new defensive staff. So we're almost back at square one. And, you know, obviously a lot of people are pointing fingers and saying, you know, addressing what we need to, you know, who we need to draft and stuff like that. But we brought some guys in the secondary that can play, some D linemen that can play. We had some guys already on the team that can play. So I think the competition going into training camp is pretty high right now. And you got guys that may not make this roster who can play and have started in the NFL for a long time, you know. But at the end of the day, I think you just got to go up and win. You eliminate all the noise about wins. It doesn't matter, you know, what you do off the field and all that other stuff. At the end of the day, just win games and people don't have questions. I don't hear anyone talking about what Seattle needs. They lost a lot of guys, but ain't nobody talking about what they need.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it. So
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they just people believe in their system because they go out there with that confidence and they're all dancing before the game, after the game, laughing, having fun. They lose, you still don't hear negative comments about what's going on. Marshawn Lynch, hey, he didn't say whatever he did in the media, cool, fine. Everyone's talking about that now. They win games at the end of the day. So you go out there, you just win games, eliminates all the noise, all the drama that we had that they didn't have, and you know the teams that consistently win. Look at the Drew Breeses; they didn't have a good season, but no one's talking about what they need because they have something good going down there. You know,
They lost the monster.
Yeah, they almost made
sure.
the playoffs at 6-10 or something like that. So it's just a little different.
Well, let me ask you. We were talking with Chris about this last night. When you look at the Wizards, and you know they're winning in the playoffs, the Capitals winning in the playoffs, big win last night against the Rangers, and then the Nationals are a favorite to get to a World Series. You know they're kind of getting it together right now. Whole nother story for a whole nother day. But when you see the success of those other three franchises here in town, do you kind of feel some pressure, like, you know, not so much pressure, but you want to do your part, so to speak, as the biggest team in town?
Yeah, I can't say pressure because obviously we're going to have the biggest fan base because we have the biggest stadium and people come out to the games regardless of wins or losses. But I think if you go to the games, there's excitement there, and people always saying, hey, the Redskins Super Bowl is shit. I'm like, hey, let's do it. Whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm happy for those guys too because we're in an environment now where people just say, hey, the DC teams are cursed. Well, I hope one of those guys wins the break, whatever's going on in DC. So at the end of the day, you're happy for them. Pressure? No. Excited? Yes. You know, it's a good vibe going on. The fans are back in the sports again, and hopefully we keep it like that.
Do you feel that pressure that you want to just produce on your end?
I wouldn't call it pressure, but you know, we do need to win. You know, 2 years ago, I wasn't here, but I just remember the guys telling me how great it was, you know, how much fun they had, you know, how much fun the fans had, you know, being there on that, 7-game win streak or whatever, just to make the playoffs. So
Look at them.
that's big, yeah. So, you know, we need to bring that back.
What was that like? I mean, obviously, I can say.
He lying.
He was. This is third
3 years
year.
ago, yeah.
That's a sign of a veteran trying to see. But
3 years ago.
what was that like? I mean, you know, for us in the media, we can tell you what it was like, just, you know, seeing something positive like that. But for players, I mean, you guys, did you really get that feel that you rallied around each other for those 7 games?
To this point in my career, not looking forward past this day right now, but that defined what I believe and what I wanted my career to be defined as. Just in the sense where guys were winning, we were happy. I never felt the stadium rocking before. I wasn't around for RFK. I'm from New York, so I didn't experience all that stuff.
You missed something special.
Yeah, but
that's
I even heard like you know, Bruce Allen talking about we need to get the stands back that rock, you know, and on the first level, on the bowl level, I think they called it or whatever. And I just think, you know, seeing that 7-game win streak is something I'll never forget just because of the guys that you did it with. We played for the guys that were next to each other, things that we haven't done in the last 2 years. And I think, you know, you look at the guys who, you know, were superstars, they're still superstars and they're still, you know, performing to a high level. Now we need to get everyone else on board, you know, to play at that level with those guys. And I think, you know, we have the good thing that we did this past week was, you know, pick up Griff's option. And I'm not saying because, you know, Kirk is not good or, you know, Colt McCoy isn't good. It's just the fact that we have some stability and they say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And we talk about eliminating noise, that's eliminating noise. So all the media people can stop asking us about what they're going to do with Robert Griffin III. And, you know, and that's the distraction.
Well, let me tell you what was kind of eye-opening to us, media people, were when we were sitting there, Scott McCloughan came out, and before we started his pre-draft press conference, first thing he said was, hey, guys, before we start, I just wanted to let you know we just exercised the option on Robert's contract.
Tweets out to the world.
Yeah, I mean, but it's our job. But he nixed before anyone could ask a question. He took care of it. And I do have to tell you guys, I think that you have somebody that his track record's proven. I think he's a person that wants to change the culture here where it can be exactly what you said. You know, it could be what Christian, we talk about, you know, him coming from Florida State, a storied college program. You know, just the fact that you look at your high school career and your days at Florida State, you've lost more games as a Redskin than you've done in your life combined. Okay, well, you know, he says that. So, I mean, you know, I think it's tough for some guys. If you're a guy that's coming from a program in college where maybe you were losing, maybe you're a little used to it, you're accustomed to it, you know. But when you come from programs like you said, both of yours, where you're winning, that's got to be really hard to accept.
It is. I think I've won 23 games in my career, something. 23 and 60 something. It's bad. It's bad.
23 and 60 something?
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
I blame y'all, man.
You blame us. Hey, like I always say, I don't put the pads on. You know, I'm not the one missing tackles or. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, this guy was a linebacker before. He was a linebacker before he converted over to fullback, so I won't go there. But what do you guys have to do? I mean, there's fans here right now that they want to see you win.
Yeah.
What do you have to do this year? Obviously, you can't go back and change history. You can't look forward. I know you have to win, but do you really feel like the sense is you got a new strength conditioning guy? It seems like you're getting rave reviews for his workouts. I mean, do you feel a sense of just change in the air?
I can't say change because all of us like Ray Wright, my former coach, strength coach. But at the same time, this guy's doing something different, for something different that we've never done in the sense of lifting. And he has a little different background in the sense of running and stuff, so we have to get our own conditioning a little bit. But I'm not saying that his running's a joke, but he's working us, progressing us into it. And the lifting phase, I'm more tired after lifting than anything I've ever been in my life. I'm talking about every day consistently, And
So
some of the things, some of the things that he's doing, some of the things he's implementing, into the regimen every day. I mean, we have an earthquake bar. No one's ever heard of it. I've never heard that in my life, but you pick up a bench bar and it's shaking, but it's for stability, and he's working on your traps, and so guys don't pull pecs and stuff like that to kind of switch it up so you're not benching, just on the barbell every day. So
Maybe I should have been here when the rack boat was here.
you know what? You can't help the free guys.
Yeah, that's true.
You go to the extent
That's
you
true.
can't do anything about that. If it's meant to be, it's gonna happen. Kudos to him. I mean, he went and got paid too, but. At the end of the day, I mean, the vibe is good right here in the building. There's a lot of things that we wish, we want to do it right now and looking forward, but you have to start in phase one. That's where we're in right now, and it's about getting stronger, faster, and learning the plays right now, and that's what it's about right now.
I wanted to ask both of you because I know, Chris is kind of the quiet guy. He
Gotta get him.
folks, this guy's like this in the locker room too. I mean, he just. So we found something out. See, and that's actually what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do, so fans can know something leaving here. But tell me something about Darrel that perhaps people don't know about.
We can't say that right now.
We can't say that right now.
All right, well, since you don't want to sling some dirt in here, what can you tell people about Darrel as far as how he's helped you in your being a young back in your career?
Oh man, seriously, he's still helping me to this day. But he's been the biggest guy for me, helping me learn the playbook, helping me learn everything. Beyond just knowing what I need to do. He knows what the quarterback's reads are and all those kind of things. So I just sit and listen to him sometimes. He talks fast, but so I try to keep up with him sometimes. But no, I think he's the smartest guy in our organization as far as players go. So
wow.
Every little thing he has for me, I'm listening.
Okay, you soak it up.
Yeah.
What would you say, over this kid's progression over the last, 3 years? Again, dealing with adversity too, the injuries, and comes in last year, first game, first touch, scores a touchdown against the Giants team you rooted for growing up.
We're not gonna talk about that. You know what? I didn't have a doubt in my mind day one that he wasn't going to be in the league just because of the way he picked up the playbook. You listen to some guys when they come in, and it's about your ability to understand something in 2 days. They throw everything at you in the weekend.
Wow.
The next day we come in, and I'm like, this kid, he was gone for a week, then came back, and he's like, hey, yeah, remember this 4 call. Hey, I'm like, this kid learned all that in the weekend? He hadn't had his coach or something, or maybe the same system. But honestly, his first touchdown last year, I was probably more excited. I think I was the first one out there to look up and I was excited. I'm like, oh man, they let the little guy free, man. No, but he's one of those guys that just, if you can listen in the game of football and understand what your role is and accept it, and then do something to make your situation better, you have a chance to be successful, and that's what he's done. And he's one of those guys, like I said, on a daily basis. He's the only one to get a perfect score on the test the other day that we had in the running back room. I got one wrong, and I forgot all about that, man. But it's just stuff like that it shows you about what you're doing on a daily basis. And he's one of those guys that he's going to give it his all. And like you said, the situation he was in, broken back and coming off the knee too as well. Every day, he's just having fun. So, I think, him having fun, his mindset, and believe it or not, he's a 30-year guy. He's a leader now, man, not a rookie. So
yeah,
that's one of those guys you got to look up to, and he's a positive mind that I look forward to seeing every day because I know what type of respect I'm going to get and give to this guy in the meeting room, and I know we're going to work to do something better about the situation that we're in.
I mean, you're a back that's a versatile back, where, as Chris said, you can play running back, you can play fullback, and you probably still play linebacker. Probably go out and catch some passes if need be. Last year, there was a game where you were the emergency third-string quarterback. So, a lot of people don't realize that, but you played quarterback in high school. So, if you were called up in a pinch, he said that, and I asked him this, because there's been some situations in the NFL history where, a person who played in high school is the emergency guy, but make no mistake about it, no one's expecting to run any passing plays. I asked Darrel last year if he had been in the game as a quarterback, would they still run the same offense for him? And he said yes. And you truly believe that?
I totally agree with that.
I told you I'm counting at 3 and throwing it up to DJ. I told him that too. I said, I ran over to the sideline. I said, Deshaun, I'm telling you right now, if I go to quarterback, I'm gonna signal a peace out signal. I don't know what it means, but we're gonna tell you this is our signal right now. We're gonna run and go, and we did that, and he laughed about it. I was dead serious. Then Griffin, I was like, hey, he ain't getting up, man. You think I'm playing? I'm gonna count to 3, and I'm gonna just launch it.
And I've seen this guy throw the ball, just out in the neighborhood throwing a football, and he had some juice on it. I was actually impressed. Ropes on like 30 yards. That was impressive. One thing before
the Eagles game too.
It was. No, and it was when you never mind. Can't do that. Too much info. But anyway, before we go to break, just on a fun note, I always try to enlighten fans about just things that you guys as players see and know. Chris tells me, and I'm still, after all these years, I think I'm gonna have to pay more attention to the guy this year. But he tells me that Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, and see he just answered my question, because he tells me that this guy will run anybody down.
I think he'll run Deshaun down. I'm talking about anybody. He ran.
He doesn't play that fast though, does he?
Don't matter. He don't want to tackle. He'll tell you that. I'm not here to tackle. I'm here to cover people. He'll tell you that. Hey, I'm not saying nothing he's never said on the field to us. Hey man, I ain't with all that.
He literally, okay, so go back to the Arizona game.
Let's go back to the Denver game, too. Let's go back to when he was in Philly. It's the same conversation.
Is he the fastest guy in the league?
I don't know about the league because I can't say Mike Wallace is fast, man. I don't know. He's the fast, but he's top 5 fastest.
So you're telling me, okay, in the Arizona game, the hitch pattern that Deshaun caught and bobbled and then took off. You think if Cromartie Rogers was in the game on him, he would still try to chase him down?
Absolutely. He's
and get him.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll catch him with a 5-yard start, but then again, I don't know if he's going to get that 5-yard start. So.
I can't wait to the 2 games this year where I'm on the field to see this. I just, because Chris said the same thing. I mean, that was the reaction you gave me is how fast he
It
is.
was actually a perfect matchup versus the Giants. Him versus Deshaun and Prince versus Pierre. That was a great matchup across the board.
Yeah, Akamura's not bad, but he made a good point. He said that, just to put it in perspective, the play that Deshaun made against Arizona, Patrick Peterson was on the field.
He was, but that 4-3 is different from the 4-2. it's a different ball game. But I actually watched the play the other day, and he actually, kind of, when he ran the slant, he bobbled it, but Pierre, I don't know if he ran that low of a route, but he cut off on. He went over top of him, and he looked back for the ball, and next thing I know, he's about 7 yards ahead of him. So that's on the safety, really. It's on the safety.
Interesting. Well, look, folks, we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, more here from Halftime Sports Bar here in D.C. First time we've ever done a show in D.C. So we've normally been out in Northern Virginia. We're coming from Ashburn, of course. We were in Maryland yesterday, so it's exciting to be here, and hopefully, fans feel like they're getting some insight for some gentlemen that maybe they didn't know about before. So we'll take a break and we'll be back. Hang tight. All right, folks, we're back here from Halftime Sports Bar here in Washington, D.C., Northeast Washington, D.C. Did you know that I'm originally from Northeast?
I did, and you played in Penn State, at Penn State.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you mentioned that. I wasn't going to bring it up, but, I grew up probably about 10 minutes from here, right off Rhode Island Avenue, South Dakota Avenue, so.
I don't know where I am. Siri took me in.
You know, and let's talk about that though, seriously. I mean, to be here and, you know, have Dwayne, one of the owners here, invite us to be out here, you know, for me, this was big, you know, just from the standpoint that we normally don't come down here. Let's be honest about that. And, you know, being from here, I have family, so I come. But as far as just from the business side of stuff, you know, we're out in Ashburn, in Northern Virginia. You know, sometimes the commute, you know, just getting here, as we saw today, you know, there's a lot of traffic, it's Friday. But, you know, I've always said that the Washington Redskins are DC's team. But yet you play in Maryland, we all live in Virginia. DC really has no, you know, stamp on the team anymore as far as the rabid fans. So for you guys to be here actually doing a broadcast in DC, I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, Washington Redskins. Right. I enjoy it. I mean, I like coming to DC. I love the social life. I love that people love their team here. You know, like you said, we play in Maryland. We live in Virginia. That's the way they set it up. But at the end of the day, we represent 3 states. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, well, you know, DC's not a state though.
You're right.
No, when I say that, man, I know people in DC, saw everybody looked at me. They don't like hearing that. They get taxed hard though. But yeah, you know, I mean, you're from New York, you know, Big Apple. You know, you're from a major metropolis, you know, where you could go in and go back out and have fun and stuff. Chris though, is from a small area. You know, when you came here to DC, was it like, you know, wow, this is a bit much?
Yeah, it's still a little too much for me. I've been to DC, but not really in DC. I've been to oohs and ahs like twice. But other than that, I hate traffic. You know, where I grew up, where I'm from, we had one caution light, so I'm not used to this. This way too much for me.
It's like Mayberry, you know what I mean? Good one. Great with that.
I need to see
Was the light, did it like go from red to green or
No,
did
it
blink?
flashed yellow.
And the train was coming.
That's just there to give people something to do. Look at
Man, you talking about the whole town.
Yeah. The whole
Man,
time.
you can't go 100 yards either direction without 4. Oh my goodness. So yeah, but I mean, you really don't come in the city that often, so.
Yeah, I don't, and I've learned from you that people in DC lie about distance all the time. You know, 30 minutes to me is 30 minutes.
No.
Up the street.
People in the country, y'all lie. Oh, I live up the road. Up the road, 30 minutes.
Dirt
Right
road
up the road. Yeah, I drove
Dirt
15
road.
minutes now.
This man told me yesterday we had 30 minutes
were right
to
up the
drive.
street from us.
It took us an hour and a half. When I think 30 minutes, 30 miles, it's 30 minutes.
Nah.
You know, no lights, nothing.
That's just nice.
Straight 30 minutes.
Folks, we had the show last night up in Gaithersburg. We're coming from Ashburn, and it was raining, and it was rush hour traffic. So we, you know, give and take an hour. Well, yeah, it was more like an hour 50, but that's not my fault, though. I mean, listen, you could go up the street from here to the Verizon Center, and the Verizon Center is it even 2 miles up the road?
No.
And it's going to take you, if you walk out this door right now and get in your car, it's going to take you about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
I can't deal with that.
You're getting paid to deal with that.
True.
I mean, you gotta make do
That's
somewhere.
true, yeah.
But I mean, getting back to the Redskins, you know, there's talk about right now. We've been hearing this for years. They're gonna have a stadium out where we are in Loudoun County. There's gonna be a stadium here in DC. They'll refurbish FedEx. So, I mean, there's just so many things that go on. Obviously, you're a player. You're going with wherever you got to suit up. But if you had a preference, would you like to play in the city? If in a perfect world, Darrel Young was making a decision,
Yes.
would you want to have a stadium in DC?
I really don't know. I mean, it takes 2 hours after home games now, so sometimes to get home. Honestly, I mean, wherever they put it, I really don't have a preference. I don't care. I just like playing football. Wherever you put it, I'm gonna go.
I can never, ever, over the years, I can never bait this guy. I can never get him to just
learn.
yeah, man, I want a stadium, like, because then you gotta show up tomorrow, like, hey, we trying to get this land deed done.
You know what? No, I said something a couple of years ago, and the guy from Washington Post, he never comes out. He watches everything, and I said something about the Merriweather situation.
I know.
So all over ESPN the next morning. It wasn't bad, but I don't like being in that situation. I don't have social media for a reason. I don't like being.
He really does have no social media.
No, I don't like it. I don't do it for the show. I do it because I love them to have fun, and the people that I impact, their lives on the way, that they'll remember. That's all I need to know. I don't need the world to know. It's not a show for me. I don't care about that, honestly. I never will, and that's why.
It's a younger generation thing, though.
I mean, it is, but my mom on Facebook. She posted
I mean, but it's sad though. It's sad though when you try to get some of the young guys, you can't call them. You gotta tweet them in order for them to respond right back.
Yeah.
But you can call them all day. They're not picking the phone up. I don't even know if they look at. I don't even know if the ringer's on the phone, honestly.
If you send that tweet, we know. The phone buzzing.
That's unbelievable. But if you got paid as a celebrities can be paid to tweet. So if somebody came to you with a mill to tweet.
A mill, yeah. I mean, of course I'm doing.
100,000 to tweet. Hey, I think Kim Kardashian get like $5 million a year to just brand something. So yeah, you would change your stance on that then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You post anything you want me to post.
All right. Well, look, folks. These guys are athletes, of course, but they also follow other sports. And I know Darrel is a former basketball player. He claims that they won 4 state championships with him as a starting point guard. That's just a scary thought. a point guard. What was your weight when you played point guard in high school?
I was Chris's weight in 9th grade. My senior year, I was about 200.
He said in 9th grade.
Solid 140 in 9th grade.
So you see the NBA playoffs on right now.
Yep.
Do the Wizards have a shot to come out the East?
Everyone has a shot.
I mean a legitimate shot.
I think so. I mean, Atlanta's struggling right now. Brooklyn somehow,
It's not over.
like I said, Brooklyn somehow overcomes this series and wins this. I think they have opportunity. The Wizards have opportunity to go and get into the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah.
Now, Eastern Conference Finals. If they get Cleveland or Chicago, Cleveland, Kevin Love's out.
Still got LeBron James.
Oh, of course, and Kyrie Irving. I get it, but it just seems like the stars are kind of aligning themselves for them to be able to capitalize on what's going on. They play well against Chicago regardless.
Yeah. Chicago plays well versus them without Derrick Rose. So I can't imagine with Derrick Rose.
We cover him. I just want to be able to continue to see some great basketball. He hasn't been to a basketball game yet.
Well, it's a heck of a way to start with the playoffs next week.
You're gonna have to, Darrell's the guy though. I mean, this
I'll
guy.
ball faithfully. I don't care what I'm doing.
Have you haven't gone to a Capitals game yet either?
Nope. I've been waiting to go to both, so we got to hook up real soon.
Yeah, we gotta do
What
that.
do you prefer, hockey or basketball? That's just as far as the atmosphere.
I'm a basketball fan at heart. That's my favorite. That's my love. But hockey is nothing. I didn't understand hockey. I still don't understand icing and all that stuff. But I don't understand the offsides call for guys going for a goal. Why you gotta stop? Just let them keep going. Whatever. But sitting on the glass, the experience with it. Those guys being up close and hitting the glass, and it's different.
It's fast.
Yeah, it's different. It's a lot different.
It's almost a blur. So
Guys skating backwards really fast. It's crazy.
we're gonna have to get Chris Thompson out there, man. Let him see the other teams.
He's a Florida guy. I don't know.
Ben complaining about that. Came back and was talking about how he came back from Florida. It was 85 degrees. Hey man, welcome to DC. I do want to do something before we go to break. About 1 minute or so, and you two are the perfect guys to talk about this. There's grumblings and things like that over the past few weeks, and to me, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to nix this before it even becomes something stupid that gets out there. But a couple weeks ago, some guys and some of your teammates went down to Florida to just get together and work out together. Nothing mandatory, nothing where if you didn't show up, people were going to think you turned your back on the team, anything like that. Can you just put that to bed? Because some people are wondering why certain people didn't go, and I just want to hear from you guys Was it mandatory or not?
It was not mandatory.
Okay.
But at the same time, guys showed up to work out with their quarterback. But guys, it's the off season. Guys are doing things with their families and stuff. Situations come up. It's not like we're in season and we have to be in a spot at a certain time. It's the off season. Guys are relaxing a little bit, or they might have been away for a week. Might have had a trip planned or something. But I don't think anyone didn't go because of certain guys going. I don't think that.
So when you saw that stuff, and you.
I didn't even hear about that.
Oh, well, it's stuff that happens. You said you did? I mean, I'm in the media and I heard and I saw it and I didn't want to respond to it. Obviously, people know relationships I have with you guys. I just didn't want to respond to it. I figured I'd wait till you guys could put it to bed. I mean, you went. You're from Florida too. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Florida, so it was right down the road for me. But it was basically, hey, I'm going here. If y'all want to meet me there, you can come. That's it.
Simple as that.
It was just that simple. One guy lived there, so he was there. Mm-hmm. So it's just that simple. If I'm going here, I'm gonna just work out here for a week. If you want to come, come. If you don't, don't. He had his quarterback coach there. That's why he was there, to work with his quarterback coach. Plain and simple.
So it clearly wasn't about who wasn't there, but about the guys that were there. That's all you could focus on at that time.
I think it's just frustrating that you take a situation like that when guys are trying to get better and they find negative things still.
Right.
Like guys showed up because they could. Acknowledge what they did. Why we talking about negative stuff? It's the off season. We ain't lost the game yet. It's the off season. Why are people dwelling on that stuff?
That's why I wanted to bring it up.
I get why people. You have to have something to write about and talk about on TV. I get that, but talk about something positive. Talk about the fact that they are down there. He's working on a situation that everyone criticized him for the past 2 years of not being, a certain quarterback that they want him to be. He's working on that. So why not talk about that situation as opposed to, they're not picking up his option and that, they're going to trade him. We're going to get Mariota. It's just bringing negative attentions. Just take the positive out.
Well, it'll get me in trouble, but I've been in trouble before. It goes back to last year. I specifically remember you too. Matter of fact. I was talking with Darrel Green and Diane Cheesebro come on shortly, Redskins reporter. We saw Robert out on the field doing drills by himself. Kurt was with him for a little bit, and then Robert stayed out there by himself. And there was, a little bit of time where he maybe was kicking the ball around by himself, and that's what was reported by some of our colleagues.
It was Chris Russell who reported, and I'm the one that walked outside with him, and all of a sudden
you walked out, exactly. And I think Chris was on his way to get ready to go out as well. And it wasn't anything to diffuse somebody that was upset or whatever. The guy took some extra reps by himself out there. And the funny thing is, Darrel Green was standing there with me, and I said, hey, is this normal? He said, this is nothing. He said, I used to do this probably 3-4 times a week by myself just to get my techniques down, and that's what he's doing. He said, you notice there's no football when he's doing those technique drills. So I'm just saying, I respect my colleagues, but I don't like some of the stuff that's put out there, because I think sometimes if you've never played something, you just don't, I'm sorry, you just don't get it.
If you find a young guy who's hungry, who's trying to work on something that the coach criticized him for in practice, if you stay out and practice long enough as opposed to chasing guys after, you see that guys actually work on the field after practice. And I tell you what, this year, I guess they're going to criticize the O-line every day while they're working, because they're going to work. This new coach he's serious, and he's about working hard and everyone being on the same page. So if you think you're going to come in here for 1 second and think that guys are being underworked or whatever, and they have to stay after, then you're going to have a problem, because that's what he's going to do. And then, people might say they're working too hard, and I get tired. Hey, whatever it is, that O-line at Dallas last year, I mean, they were the reason for success regardless. I'm not saying, to take anything away from DeMarco or Tony Romo, those guys, because they're elite players in the league, but they got an opportunity when you're average, your running back runs for 1,600 yards. Robert Griffin was in that elite conversation when we talked about quarterbacks in the sense of the media. To us, he's elite. To the media, he fell off and, whatever.
Not to all of us.
Yeah, but we haven't had a 1,600-yard season since then, and that's not to disrespect Alfred, but the running game, affects everything. And it is what it is. You go out there, you run the ball, you pass the ball, you're able to do some things that, other teams can't do, and that's what separates you from, the teams who are at the bottom tier every year.
So look, folks, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, I want to bring in Dwayne Farwell, who's the owner here, and gracious enough to have us come out here. Hopefully, it's the first of many opportunities to, come back in the city and do some great things with these guys. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back on, we'll let him tell us about some things going on here at halftime, and chicken wings, great chicken wings, all that good stuff. So hang tight, we'll be right back.
Darrel Young back here at Halftime Sports, Fullback, Washington Redskins, still along with Chris Thompson. Today, we had the privilege of coming to Halftime Sports here in DC and Northeast, and today we have the owner of the bar today. How you doing?
No good.
Okay. Everyone, his name is Dwayne Farwell, aka Fat Cat, as I heard they call you. I heard your nickname a little bit. Well, we appreciate you letting us do this broadcast here, and we know we haven't been the winningest team in the past couple of years, but
My team.
hey, that's what we love about it. That's what we love about DC. People love us. Our fans love us. They still want us to come around at 4-12. That's what I like about it. But what do you like about the Redskins? What do you think about the draft so far?
I think we got what we need. We need a lineman. We got to keep RG up. Got to make lanes so you can run. You know what I mean? You can run. So actually having those guys, we need needs. We got a lot of things. It's not the best pick for us. When people think for us the glory. The skilled guys always get all the glory. Sometimes the guys on the line, whether it's defense or offense, these guys don't get the big accolades. But for you guys, the most of the things you do, you gotta have those guys. Absolutely. That was an excellent pick.
Absolutely. I think looking back at the history, and me not growing up here, but the one thing I do hear about the Redskins is the Hollins. And I think, going back to those days, those when they won the Super Bowls, and I think looking at those opportunities that they had on the offensive line, I think we need to get back to that. And I think that was a great start. Not criticizing the guys that I played with, for the past couple of years, but we struggle and I've struggled. So I hope they don't draft a fullback, but it is at the end of the day. But like I said, we're just having some fun out there. But what's your most memorable moment as a Redskins fan?
I think when we were down in Denver in the Super Bowl with Doug Williams. Ran those points up and got a big lead and it was a blowout. I want to say it might have been 88 Super Bowl, something like that.
Yeah, I was still in the Panther then.
I wasn't even born yet.
So where are you from?
I'm from New York originally. I went to Villanova, Pennsylvania.
And you?
From Florida, I went to Florida State.
Florida State, okay. Seminole, right?
Yeah, Seminole. What do you think about James Winston going first pick?
I think it was a good pick. He's got to mature a little bit. Once he matures, I think he'll be an excellent player. I just watched him on Gruden's show one day. And he's the quarterback thing he do.
Yeah.
He looked he really can read. Like, the defense is really well. I thought for a guy at his stage in his career, he didn't play the whole 4 years of college, but when he was there, he was. Well, I guess maybe the winningest quarterback in the 2 years he was there.
Absolutely. I think, also like you said, him being the winningest quarterback, just having fun. I think that's what we need to get back to be, elite ball club in the NFL again, to be in the conversation with, the Seattle's, the Pittsburgh, the guys with rich history. And I think, going to other stadiums, when we play at Dallas, we have a lot more fans than those guys.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's crazy, and vice versa. When they're winning, obviously they're going to sell out the stadium here. But I think, whatever, it is what it is. But being you're born and raised in DC?
Born and raised in DC.
Okay. So
not far from here, right on down the street on Benning Road. So I used to get my hair cut a couple doors up from there.
Okay.
As a kid, so I'm an early guy all the way.
So what inspired you to open up a sports bar here?
I had several businesses and I always wanted to have a bar. And bar and restaurant, I have my degree in culinary arts, so it was kind of natural to want to be in the bar business, food business. And I just looked over down H Street, which was a booming area, and it was not a sports bar. And so I decided this was going to be my theme, and this is what it is. We've building, and we've been open since the 1st of April, so we've been open actually now, the day 30 days, one month. And we're doing well. We've been really bringing the community in. They were supporting us really well, and I'm glad to have you guys here today.
Thank you. I think giving back to the community is the most important thing that you could do. Having success where you're growing up, and I think us winning too will definitely help you on Sunday. So I'm excited for the fall. I'm gonna come back and get some wings. I'm gonna have RG3 tweeted out, so I don't have Twitter, so I can't help you.
All right.
Yeah, but what do you think about you see a guy like this? You walk in, you're like, man, this guy. I looked at Chris too the first day he came in. I'm like, this guy's a little small. What do you think when you think of a Redskins player like that?
I've been around football for a long time. My son just graduated from East Carolina University. He's in the draft. They got him going in the second to third day. He'll probably go tomorrow. They got him between 5 and 7. So we'll see where he end up. Minnesota just texted him not too long ago, talking to him, telling him keep his phone on. So maybe might get some early movement. But I see guys like him, small guys. These are skilled guys. You guys, fast guys that make it happen. I've seen a lot of little guys that scoop that's been moving. You know what I mean? So when I see a guy like this, I know he got a speed Florida State kid. Yeah, he's moving.
He's got all the tools. He's got all the tools to be successful in the NFL. I hope he gets his opportunity the way he's supposed to be. Yeah. He showed flashes at Florida State, and I watched his highlight tape. I ain't gonna ever tell him about it, but I watched his highlight tape when they drafted him. I thought I seen some big things in him. But definitely, I mentioned the game. I actually had the privilege to meet your game, son at the game last week, the Wizards game. And, I had talked to him a little bit. And his mom was like, "Hey, we just worked out the Redskins." I'm like, "Okay, I'm a Redskin too." So definitely, that's pretty cool. What is that experience like for you? Having your son go through the draft, having a team call him?
No, it's been great. I just been, just letting him to enjoy it. I mean, he's worked out hard. I just said he played Florida in the bowl game in Alabama, and Alabama. But after that, he got straight to work. His agent sent him to training, and he's been working out outside of Baltimore for the last, I guess it's January, so he's ready to go. One thing about him is, I guess the big boys keep watching the scale, keeping that weight up. If he gets up to 300, he's like, "I'm losing weight." I'm like, so that's the biggest thing is feeding him, keep him going. You know how it goes.
I tell you what, being a young guy going through this whole process, I was a little nervous, but I also had the support around me to, just say that, hey, everything's gonna be all right, even when I had my worst days working out. Right. What is the biggest thing to you that you tell him to keep him focused?
Just keep your eye on the prize, man. Just stay focused, man. Don't worry about the outside things that you can't control. Just control what you can control. You know what I mean? And even when he played in high school and he committed to Penn State originally and was a late qualifier, so he ended up going East Carolina with Skip Holtz, which was a great place for him to go, I think, in the end. But I always tell him when you go into a play, always think ahead of the man in front of you. You know what I mean? Always think ahead and just control what you control. You can't control the whole game, but you can control what you're doing.
Absolutely, that's right.
Don't take no plays on, but keep your motor moving.
And that's one of the things, the things we tell the young guys coming in the NFL, especially when Chris came in. So hey, learn the playbook. Everything else will fall into place naturally. So I think looking at that, a young humble kid, when I got the opportunity to meet him, I hope he wish the best for guys like that. And like you said, he has the support of his father. A lot of guys, not saying that it's his first black communities, but growing up in a black community, a lot of guys don't have fathers in their homes. I was honored to have both of my parents together. They're still married. Chris, having parents in the house and stuff like that, and
it's very
situation we're going. But it's that backbone is something that you can't replace. And that's one thing I can say to you. I mean, you're a lot older than I am, but I know going through this whole process, I did not mean it like that. I apologize. But from the wisdom standpoint, seeing this stuff and being on the show, I'm from an all-black town myself, so I get the struggle in the sense of just going out there having fun, but remembering where you came from, so you don't go back to that. And I think just looking forward to that. If I had to tell my dad something now, I would say thank you, man. Just continue to do what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You got your degree. That's it. You got your degree to fall back on, and you did well in school, and you still pursuing your dream. You know what I mean? So as long as you still the game, you still got a chance.
I gotta ask this question though. So when he gets drafted, when his name gets called tomorrow, what's the first thing we get? What's the first thing we are getting?
We're not getting anything.
Oh, come on, man. It's got to be something that you've always wanted. Not because he made the NFL, but something that you wanted that might be able to happen for you. Something in the bar, something at home.
I don't know. I mean, you gotta make the team first, man.
You can make the team.
You going in 5 through 7, man. You gotta make the team. You gotta do. You still gotta put work in. Which I know he'll do. But like I said, at that point, I kind of want him to take his blessings in for himself. I'm gonna treat him for a minute. You know what I mean? But I have been as well. We made the dean's list. I bought him a new car. I had to pay tuition because he was on sports scholarship. So when they draft him tomorrow, hey, I'm gonna be more proud dad. You know what I mean? He was a basketball player too. He played basketball in high school as well. So
that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. And like you said, more power to your son. But a little bit more back on the topic of you. Who inspired you to do what you did?
Man, I'm the type of dude. I don't like working. I have jobs. I worked for companies for other people for a long time. And I just decided that I was going out on faith. I didn't want to do it no more. You know, I just wanted to work for myself. And I had enough credentials, enough capital to start my own business. And once I was able to find a good spot, and this was a great opportunity for me, I came in and I attacked like you guys attack, like you work on the field. I work hard, man, from sometimes 8, 9 in the morning to 2, 3 in the morning next morning. You know, so it's hard work. It's not easy to look, but I'm willing to put the hard work in because the end result is coming back to my family. You know, and it's something I enjoy doing. It's something I really enjoy doing. I mean, I get to watch games and like the people smile on their face, you know, have a good time in your establishment. And it's always been a great thing.
One of the things that I've learned about, you know, doing segments like this and, you know, just doing shows and signings and appearances at places, the most successful places are the guys who are, you know, more involved on a daily basis in terms of being in there and just being happy, but treating people the right way, as opposed to just doing this from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I can talk to a customer that had a bad experience. I'd like to make the experience right for them. If we don't have it, I write it down so make sure we have it next time. I think Small Power Operations is not a corporation, so we got a franchise. So we basically just trying to please our community and the people that come into our staff on a regular basis. So if they need something, I'll go the extra mile to make sure they have it. I've gone as far as go to the grocery store and that was a particular item that a customer wanted. So it's all about customer service and you know, just knowing what your customers want. Yeah, that's what I try to do.
I think, you know, for me walking in, I got the feeling of a good vibe when I walked in. I don't know how you felt, Chris, you know, when you walked in, but when I came in, I was like, I'm at home. It feels good right now. Couches, you know, bar, everyone greeted you. You came in, food is good. You know, but I look at, you know, situations like Chris too. I mean, I don't know if you want to elaborate on this a little bit more, but you know, just looking at the food and some of the establishments that you have, you know, what can you say about this place, you know, being here, you know, first time?
Honestly, I felt at home too. You know, I felt when I walked in, you know, it felt comfortable. As soon as I stepped in, people that work here were speaking to me and everything. And, you know, as soon as I stepped up here, just making sure I was straight, just helping out. That's a big deal. You know what I mean? Just you got the right people in here working for you.
Thank you. We try hard, man. We try hard.
I see that, but we do got to talk about some of these banners that's hanging up. I ain't seen the Redskins. I see Cowboys. I see Seahawks, Colts. Oh, all right, cool.
I got a whole Redskins.
I didn't look left. All right.
You know, I'm not trying to be bad. I want everybody to come in and, you know, because DC is a place there, people from all over the country. You know, it's like a melting pot. And a lot of people that live in DC these days aren't from DC. So they have other teams that they support, and we don't want to have them come in and alienate anyone. Even though I'm a diehard Redskins fan, my son is a Dallas Cowboy fan, so in my house, we got a, you know, a crazy situation going on.
You know what, being here, I didn't understand the rivalry. I did because, you know, being in New York, the Giants and all the same division and all that stuff, I didn't understand the rivalry that the Redskins and Cowboys had. But one person walked up to me one day, I was doing a charity event, I'll never forget this, and he said, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I said, give me 5 players besides the stars. He gave me one, he said David Harris, I think. I said, oh, okay, I appreciate that. I said, he was like, you know what else about DC is lovely? I said, what? He said, DC stands for Dallas Cowboys. I said, I can't even argue with you on that one. I can't even argue with you on that one. But I'm still going to love my skin. What you say, you know, but you know, definitely the vibe here is good. I really like it though. What are you expecting, how are you expecting the fall to look? You know, what was your big plan for this bar when you opened it up?
Basically, man, to have people come out somewhere to go to watch the games on H Street, because most of these places on H Street are just pubs, drinking holes, water holes. So people don't really, you know, it's really not really our TVs are not on the games all the time. You know, and I want to attract all ages to come out and enjoy the games. Redskins, during the football season, we'll do a brunch, football brunch starting, you know, at 11. They go through the whole day. You know, a few other things we do, but we just really focusing on sports, playoffs, basketball. We had a great turnout during the Final Four, the college games. Well, I mean, it's going to be a place where you can go away from home in the city. You know, a lot of people live in apartments in the city or small places, so you know, you want to be cooped up. You want to come out, maybe have a drink, watch the game, eat some good food, and have a good time.
That's also another thing that I like about, you know, living in DC. I mean, being from New York, I like the fact that you can walk down the block and walk in just about any place and get some food, but there's not too many places that feel like home. And that's what I liked about this place, like I said, when I walked in here. And I think, NFL Red Zone is one of the best things that the NFL could have done for bars, for fans and stuff like that. So, thank you. It's a privilege and an honor for us to be out here. Much more than you think, just because we're players. But we thank you for allowing us to come out here in a situation in a time where guys getting drafted, your son's going through it. At the same time, we appreciate that, and
I appreciate
wish
you
you the
guys.
best of luck with this ball. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, just real quick, the next 2-3 minutes, I want to personally thank everyone who came out tonight and showed some great support. Dwayne, we're going to do this again real soon. I think this is the start of something really good. They've got a nice establishment here at halftime. Folks, you need to check them out. I mean, this is something that is new, something that is exciting, and again, for us to be able to have the opportunity to be here in DC is great. Obviously want to thank Darrel Young and Chris Thompson for coming out, always supporting, when I've asked you to come out in the pinch,
I think, honestly, we have to say thank you for coming out and reaching out to us. And rumor has it that, I don't think you told the world yet, but I heard this is your last broadcast.
Yeah, it is. This is, my last broadcast as far as Sports Journey. Not Sports Journey, not the business. The business is doing really well now, and Diane Cheesebro, who's here with us, she's been with me going on for 5 years as far as us just really working hard. And you've seen us in that locker room, and then there was a time you didn't see us in the locker room and you saw us back in the locker room. So, we put in a lot of hard work, and now I'm happy to say that, we're covering all the teams in town with multiple staff members, and they're doing really good, doing really well. So with that being said, obviously you still going to see me covering the Skins. But as far as the other teams, I got to run a business, man, and this is the problem that I wanted.
I hear that, but first of all, thank you again. Congrats to the success of the business and all that. But trying to cheat my guy Chris Short. I mean, you brought him in as kind of like you mentored him a lot. And I think you kind of cheat him short by leaving him. Now you cheating on him.
I'm gonna say this, and you guys know. We're kind of told in media not to fraternize with the players and all that. I'm not fraternizing. This is a cousin, and this kid is, I'm trying to tell people, Chris like my son. These are good young men, as everyone in here can see, and and I can say this, and I have to say this, especially in this venue. This is a lot deeper for me than just sitting here doing a broadcast. As a black man. Running a business, I find it to be, special, the relationships I have with you guys. And, we've had deep conversations about things that hopefully I've given you guys some good advice. You guys have given me advice over the years. So, it's hard to be able to step away from this, seriously. But, when money comes, it's not that hard to have to do that.
We know.
So, we've got stuff up our sleeves, as always, a Sports Journey. It is going to be tough not to be able to talk about him blowing up, because I expect some good things from him this year. I've been able over the years, you remember years ago, you came on the show we did, and he was on the practice squad as a linebacker. So, we go back to talking about that. A long time ago. Now this guy getting 3 touchdown games, So hopefully Chris will do that too. But folks, we're still going to be doing this strong, better than ever. I'm excited about the new crew we have, new staff we have, bringing you great coverage. We went over 5 million people, as far as to the site. So, I can't complain about that. So now the name of the game is to fatten pockets up for everybody. So. I'll be around. I'll be around. Nah, I don't think so. So look, folks, we're gonna wrap it up. And again, everybody here at halftime had a great time. Hopefully you did as well. So you guys, as always, appreciate it. And we'll see you around. Take care.